You are on India Today podcasts and you are in the sledging room.
All right, then. The Asia Cup squad is out. We know who is going to play for India, at least in Sri Lanka. You can kind of guess what kind of playing 11 will take the field against Pakistan on the 2nd of September, probably even against Nepal on the 4th of September. And around that time, India will have to bring in their World Cup squad. That is, of course, the most anticipated team of the year so far. So it's been that kind of a journey for India in 2023. You started off well with emphatic series wins over Sri Lanka and New Zealand. Yeah. You lost to Australia in that ODI series, and that build up we're still in the middle of a build up. Yeah. You won in the West Indies without Rohit and Virat, and now this is the moment of reckoning. Surprises? We'll of course, you'll see the squad on the screen, of course, but KL Rahul is back. Shreyas Iyer is back. KL Rahul is back with the niggle. We'll talk about that as well. Surya Kumar Yadav has retained his place for the Asia Cup. There's a new entrant, Tilak Verma, who impressed the team management so much on the back of his T20I performances in the West Indies. He's there alongside a few other names. I mean, Bumrah and Prasidh Krishna are back, and thankfully, they've showed their worth in Ireland. But Akshay, we talked about it. Tilak Verma. Yes. I said, we're talking about Tilak Verma so much. Tilak Verma is trending so heavily on social media. You never know. The team management would have thought, why not?
Fallen into
Aad kar lete hain.
outside noise. Now they're listening to outside noise. Because I don't know, Tilak Verma
looks like
Tilak Verma was
the
given.
Asia Cup
This is not a school cricket team.
Yes.
There is a lot of understanding that goes behind the selection. There's a lot of deep
tell someone
analysis.
before he sleeps that he has to bat at number 4.
Hey, you're deviating, but Tilak Verma?
Yeah, as in Tilak Verma, was it a surprise call? I don't know, because there was so much chat and clamour around his selection after his 3 T20Is against the West Indies, after his the performances in the 5-match T20I series in the West Indies. He did well, but even Ajit Agarkar and Rohit Sharma, surprisingly, the selectors have started addressing a press conference after selection meeting. That itself was a surprise. But they justified Tilak Verma's selection, saying that, they saw the temperament. They saw his temperament. They saw his potential. It was not just based on the performances of his 5 T20Is in West Indies. He played 3. 5-match T20I series in the West Indies.
Okay, I'll cut you short right there, Saurabh. Just to get Saurabh in. Tilak Verma.
Yeah.
They said Agarkar and Rohit Sharma, who were addressing the media after the squad was announced, said they were impressed by Tilak Verma's temperament. Okay, fair enough. No, there's no doubting the youngster's talent. He has got the game.
Yeah.
He's shown that for Mumbai Indians, particularly in the 2023 season. Part of his repertoire also came to the fore in 2022. And then a couple of impressive knocks in the West Indies. But here is the question. If you were so impressed, why name him in the Asian Games squad, which would almost directly mean that he's not going to be part of the World Cup squad? Or should you not have then started thinking about Tilak Verma as a middle order option from the West Indies ODIs? Because you did not play Rohit and Virat in the last 2 one-dayers. You did not bat Virat in the first one-dayer. Rohit came to bat at number 7 or number 8 in the first game.
Yeah.
So why this sudden late change in mind and thinking?
Absolutely. I mean, you're talking about Tilak Verma. You saw him what he did in the T20I series. Again, are you mixing formats? I mean, you saw what happened to Surya Kumar Yadav. I'm not questioning the talent and intent of Tilak Verma, but we all have seen what has happened to Surya Kumar Yadav. Yes, he has received the backing of team management. Well enough, good enough. But he has not been able to replicate his T20I form in ODIs, because these are 2 different formats. You need to bring a different temperament when you're playing a T20I, and different temperament, different patience, level of patience when you're playing ODIs. With Tilak Verma, he was not there in the reckoning before the T20I series against West Indies. He comes there, he plays a couple of good knocks, impresses us all, but straight away back in the ODI squad. And yes, you are rightly pointed out. Then what is he doing in that Asia Games squad? I mean, the selectors were confused.
No, they're not confused about
Why are we making so much hue and cry about this?
No. They've been asking the questions. Look,
We have
these
always
questions are never going to be asked in a press conference.
Yes.
Otherwise, you'll get very sarcastic comments, or you'll end up annoying
But
somebody.
Raj, why are we missing the point that the Asian Games final, if at all India make it to the final, is on 7th of October. And
Exactly.
the first
exactly.
match
The
against-
squad has
yeah.
to be announced. The World Cup squad has to be announced by the 5th of September.
Yeah.
The preliminary squad.
Yeah.
That's the deadline. The final squad has to be finalized by either the 27th or 28th September.
28th,
Or
yes.
I'm a little confused because the earlier date I heard was 27th, and now it's the 28th of September on the last day of the India-Australia ODI series. So by then, the team would have traveled to China to play, to participate in the Asian
Pull him
Games.
out of that team. How
No,
difficult
that's what's
it
going to
is. Yeah.
happen. Again, no complaints there.
Yeah.
That's what Ajit Agarkar said. That look, it's a no-brainer. The World Cup squad will be based around these 17 members.
Plus one.
Plus a
Sanju
traveling standby player.
Who's Sanju Samson?
Who's Sanju Samson. So that's all right. But just to recap this for our listeners and for our viewers, you looking at Rohit Sharma, who's captain, Hardik Pandya, the vice captain, Virat Kohli. You have Bumrah and Prasidh Krishna back, Shreyas Iyer and Rahul back. You have Ishan Kishan in that squad.
Yeah.
You have Ravindra Jadeja, you have Akshar Patel, you have Kuldeep Yadav, you have Mohammad Shami, you have Mohammad Siraj, you have Shardul Thakur.
Yeah.
So that's the composition of your team. Of course, Tilak Verma, who we're discussing, in depth today. But that's the issue of this around this whole team. You again, when look at the squad that you've picked again. Assuming that this is the squad that's also going to be this is more or less a squad for the World Cup.
Yeah.
Your playing 11 will be dictated by the top 6. And because now look at the composition of the squad, right? You have so many all-rounders. You have 4 all-rounders. You have a couple of wicket-keeper batters. You have so many batting options. You have 8 batting options and a wafer-thin spin lineup. You've talked about variation so often. You've talked of your spin depth so often. And you have 2 similar finger spinners and Kuldeep Yadav. He deserves his place in the side. Yuzvendra Chahal, maybe he hasn't made the most of his chances in one-day cricket. You got to give it. You got to understand there that, he's probably muffled up a few of his chances. But should he have been a little more consistent, should he have been given some more consistent chances? So therein lies the problem. You don't want to criticize anything around the team management, but you have to ask questions. Maybe, again, like I said, maybe India could end up winning the World Cup. But there is your problem. You're still playing with only 6 bowling options.
But
Exactly.
now that-
like you pointed out, Chahal, it doesn't look like that Chahal has been in the plan of team management. He was picked for the ODI series against Indies, but he was not given a single ODI.
Yeah.
And now he's not there in the Asia Cup squad. And more or less, it doesn't look like he will be picked in the World Cup squad. So it has always been the case. We have all talked in this.
Those are not shot on Chahal or Ashwin or
Exactly.
Washington Sundar.
Exactly.
That is what they always come up and say.
that is
and
what
here,
Rohit Sharma said yesterday
here
at
in
the press
Sledging room, we have
conference.
always asked the right questions. We have always pointed out that our bowling has suffered because of batting. Your top order has failed to perform on a lot of occasions. They have been out of form. So what you do is, to back up for that, you remove a spinner, you bring in a bowler who can bat. You bring in Akshar Patel and Ravindra Jadeja. Both are similar kind of players.
Yeah.
You are right, absolutely right. You should have. I am not saying you should have picked up Chahal. Bishnoi could have been an option. He was also a good leg spinner. You are going to play Asia Cup in Sri Lanka, the World Cup in India, subcontinent conditions.
Yeah.
What is
But
wrong?
the subcontinent condition notion Rohit Sharma broke in the press conference on Monday itself. He said that he expects pace to play a bigger role than spin.
And he also said if needed,
If
Rohit
need
and
be,
Kohli
yes.
will also
Yeah.
bowl.
And
But was that a
was
joke?
not a joke, Raj, because
Was that a joke?
It looked like a joke.
he
Agarkar
said it with a
laughed.
straight
Agarkar
face.
said
Yeah,
he's-
Agarkar said
No,
also.
Rohit Sharma says a lot of things with straight face.
But
with a
Agarkar
straight
also
face.
said joked that we have convinced these two to
if-
bowl.
So you're saying Rohit Sharma was serious about it and Agarkar was trying to be funny
like,
about it.
Like so many times,
So the
Agarkar
chief
had to
selector
step
doesn't
in.
agree with what the captain of India is saying.
Would you
about
not be happy if Rohit and Virat roll their arm over?
Not anymore.
I mean,
Yeah, but
have you seen?
but one thing, Raj. This notion of spin gonna play a big part in India, I don't agree with it because there'll be dewy conditions. There'll be dew late in the evening in these October and November months. And also, if you historically look at it, in 2011, spin had taken around 290 wickets overall.
Yeah.
And pace had taken around 370
No,
wickets.
I'm not saying I disagree with what Rohit Sharma's
And
talked
also
about
with
pace
dew,
because
we have
there-
seen how
Exactly.
often
And
Yuzvendra
I
Chahal
think that
struggling
is
to
exactly
handle
that's
dew.
what I was coming to. That
Yeah.
wrist spinners with wrist spinners, you'll be a little weary throwing the ball to say an Yuzvendra Chahal when there is so much dew around. But also factor in the scores around those times, right? You've had hard hitting scores. Even with Indian teams, by the way, you've seen their approach. you go back to 2019 and you saw the way they approached one-day batting against after the World Cup, because by then the dynamics of one-day cricket had changed. The dynamics of batting in one-day cricket had changed.
Yeah.
So India were perhaps trying to adapt, but again, you come back to the same problem, same cycle of issues. You have Rohit Sharma up the order, who is not going to be an anchor anymore. He's trying to be a pinch hitter, somebody of Rohit Sharma's caliber. Virat Kohli, again, we got to talk of form. Now you bring in Ishan Kishan. Assuming KL Rahul is fit, he obviously gets in ahead of Ishan. He keeps wickets. But your batting lineup is more or less the same. Your approach has been the same. Yeah. And to make matters worse, between 2019 and 2023, of late, some of your batting stars have had the most miserable run that you could think of. So that is another problem. It is because you don't trust your batting lineup that you are actually now looking for bowlers who can also bat. Yeah. Akshar Patel, right? Rohit Sharma also mentioned Akshar Patel and how he has had a brilliant one-day year with white ball cricket as far as the bat is concerned. Where? I mean, he's been a stellar performer with the bat in Test cricket, and especially at the Border Gavaskar Trophy, Akshar was very, very
Delhi
impressive.
Capital, you're forgetting Delhi Capitals. Right? He was
he wasn't even,
warrior for
he
Delhi
wasn't
Capitals.
even sent up higher than 6 or 7.
Yes.
That was a surprise until much later. But even in one-day cricket, he averages 18 with the bat.
Exactly.
Right?
Like, my simple question is, if you're going to trust someone of Akshar's batting ability, not disrespecting him, but of Akshar's batting ability to do the role at number 8, then why do you have to carry so much high established top order batsmen? If your top 5 can't do it, rarely can your the number 7, number 8 can do the job for you, right?
Good point. The other point is, Rohit Sharma's talked about how you can't get batters who can start bowling overnight. But whether he was joking about it or not, there was a time when Rohit Sharma used to regularly roll his arm over, where Virat Kohli would chip in with 1 or 2 overs. Maybe not so much in one-day cricket, but he had the potential
There is
to
a
do that.
viral video going around on Twitter where Virat introduces himself at the Under-19 World Cup or something. He says, right-hand bat, right-arm fast bowler.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when they started off, they took pride in their bowling, right? Yeah. Now, you look at it this way, right? India's bowling lineup, your first choice bowling lineup, I mean, for me, it would be, now with Prasidh Krishna back, I would have Bumrah, obviously. I would have Siraj. I would have Shardul, Kuldeep Yadav. I would also like to get in Prasidh Krishna in these conditions. We've talked about his impact at home in one-day cricket. And then you have Jadeja. And that leaves you with just 6 bowling options. Then you have Hardik. So which would mean that Hardik has to bat higher up than number 6 or number 5. Yeah. So
but that would give you 7 bowling options.
But that would give you 7 bowling options. But would you do that? Then would you play one batsman less?
No.
Ideally, for that to happen, in your top 5, you would need one all-rounder, one batting all-rounder, and one wicket-keeper. And you get in somebody else at number 6. So that gives you those 7 bowling options. Will Tilak Verma be the one to do that? Will he be the one to challenge Surya Kumar Yadav? Because you suddenly decided that Surya Kumar Yadav would be a number 6 in one-day cricket.
But where
that thought has gone out. That thought has gone out the
window.
window.
Where will Surya Kumar and Tilak fit in if KL and Shreyas are coming back?
That is the problem. Now, the moment Shreyas and KL are back in the side, we also discussed that in the sledging room. That makes your bowling lineup even thinner.
Yeah. Yes.
So, again, from one of your first choice bowlers, if say Bumrah or a Prasidh has a bad day, you are in trouble. Yeah. How often has Jadeja, by the way, done a containing role in one-day cricket? Yeah. You're confusing Jadeja, the bowler in one-day cricket, with the bowler in Test, that he is in Test cricket.
Yeah.
There's a huge difference when you talk about, and if you look at the wicket-keeper role, will Ishan Kishan play? Definitely he will play, I think, in the Pakistan game, because Ajit Agar confirmed that KL Rahul has a niggle. If KL Rahul has a niggle, is he fit enough, whenever he is fit enough, to keep for 50 overs and then bat? Yeah. Why was Sanju Samson kept as a backup? He could have been the second wicketkeeper.
If Rahul is not available for the first 2 ODIs in the Asia Cup, and if Ishan Kishan has to bat, will you slot him in the middle order, or will you ask one of your top guys to bat at number 3 or number 4?
No, but we'll come to flexibility. Right? Now we come to flexibility.
Before you go to flexibility, like you mentioned, Rohit Sharma pointed out that the 2011 World Cup winning team had plenty of batters who could bowl. And he also said, like you pointed out, that you can't produce those cricketers overnight. What is overnight in this? Rohit Sharma took over as India captain after Virat Kohli was sacked in December 2021. It's almost been 2 years. and you have not been able to produce a single batter who could
No,
roll
but
his arm over.
you can't just blame one batsman or one captain or one coach, right?
Yeah.
That has been radically.
But why
the
would you
problem
come
with
out
the
and
Indian
say
team.
that you can't produce those cricketers overnight?
You have those cricketers. You haven't given Washington Sundar a long enough rope. I have been saying this for the last 2 years. The moment he played that knock in Brisbane, when you come back to India and you realize that, you know what, here is a multi-format cricketer right up there for you. One-day cricket, Washington Sundar. T20 cricket, Washington Sundar. Test cricket, definitely Washington Sundar. I mean, you missed those chances, right? Shivam Dubey. Did you give him enough chances? You haven't. Hardik Pandya has got multiple chances. Has he established himself as a serious one-day cricketer? I don't think so. T20 cricket, yes, you could argue that Hardik Pandya has, obviously shown flashes of brilliance. But again, one-day cricket, how many... Even if you wanted to play Hardik Pandya, remember for couple of years, you played Kedar Jadhav to bowl the 30% of the overs that Hardik Pandya couldn't bowl.
Yes.
So that is why Kedar Jadhav got that long run. I mean, if you don't want to believe me, look up stats there. And you'll find out that, every time Hardik played, Kedar Jadhav would be a part of the team. I mean, not that Kedar Jadhav did not do justice to his batting talent. He did. But, I mean, you had cricketers who could do it. You just chose not to get involved there. And now you're right, with KL Rahul and Shreyas Iyer, and we discussed that in one of our previous episodes on the Sledging room. That makes your bowling lineup a little more, a little thinner there.
That brings me to this question, Raji. Is Hardik the most sophisticated cricketer? As in this lineup, and in the sense I'm asking, is he getting the most leeway in the team? As in, he can't bowl 10 overs in ODI cricket. He has told himself that I don't want to play
and
test cricket.
And he averages 33 with the bat.
33 with the bat. And whenever you last seen him playing a big knock, and can he bowl 10 overs? And even if he bowls those overs, he's bowling with the new ball.
No,
he's not bowling the difficult overs.
I think that's being a little unfair on Hardik. I'll tell you why. Because, we've got to ask the right questions to the right cricketers. But I'll give you this one about Hardik. He needs cushion up and down the order. For instance, I'll just bring out this one innings from 2022 when Rishabh Pant and Hardik Pandya were involved in that partnership. In that series decider, the 3-match series decider.
Against England.
Right, against England.
Yeah.
Pant scored 100 and Hardik got some crucial runs. So that is the kind of role that Hardik can justifiably do. Also remember that innings, that Champions Trophy final against Pakistan. Of course, it was a lost cause because all the top order batters had been dismissed. But that is the kind of role Hardik Pandya will really find himself living up to the billing. Yes. And not that he hasn't played a few of these knocks. You go back to 2016 against Australia, you would see that he had a couple of half centuries there as well. So, but that is Hardik Pandya's role. You can't expect him to come in at number 4 or number 5 anchor innings for you or anchor chases of 360,
But he himself wants to bat there. He doesn't want to do the finisher's role. You have earmarked Surya Kumar Yadav.
That is why you have a captain and a coach who need to take the final call.
And to be fair, Shardul Thakur can take wickets at important intervals better than Hardik Pandya. And the numbers suggest
I don't agree. I don't disagree there. Shardul is a better
and
bowling
Shardul
option.
might miss out because of this conundrum that KL is back, Shreyas is back, and Hardik is all round.
We'll come to the bowling lineup as well because we've kind of started dissecting the bowling lineup. But since you brought up the flexibility issue, here is what Rohit Sharma said, right? What did he say? He said, no, numbers 1 to number 6 have to be flexible. It's not like somebody is told the night before they have to bat at number 4 and, go to sleep. It's a process that they believe in. After Agarkar stepped in, Rohit Sharma says, look, hum pagalpanti nahi karte. This is not a school cricket team. We don't want tabahi or chaos is what I'm trying to figure out, the translation. I mean, I hope I'm correct. He said, an opener won't be asked to bat at number 8. When we were youngsters, we also batted lower down the order. Couple of batters now can't change their position, which means the openers will stay. Which means Virat has batted number 3 for most of his career.
He himself said that. Shikhar and I have opened for most of our...
So, now who are going to be the flexible batters?
Yeah.
Which means a number 7 might be asked to bat at number 4.
Absolutely. And in case... In the first Asia Cup game against Pakistan, Ishan Kishan is going to play. Will he open with Rohit Sharma? And Suman Gill drop down in the middle order?
Or why can't Rohit Sharma drop down to number 3, Virat to number 4?
That can't happen. They don't do that kind of pagalpanti. But you made a good point in one of our shows on Tuesday, Akshay.
Yeah.
And I wholeheartedly agree that Tendulkar, you said...
Before the 2011 World Cup.
In 2007, Tendulkar was pushed down to number 4. Saurav Ganguly has often sacrificed his batting position.
For Virender Sehwag and Sachin Tendulkar.
Yes.
I mean, again, to look at the Tendulkar move in perspective, it backfired.
Yeah.
I don't agree with Virat batting at number 4, for instance. He got over nearly 11,000 runs batting at number 3. He has a good record at number 4. Nobody's arguing
More
that.
than that, he can't start against spin at this juncture of his career.
And why would, I mean, if I were Virat Kohli, Saurabh, Akshay, I would say that, look, you sacked me as ODI captain 2 years back. You haven't been able to figure out your middle order options. Why should I sacrifice my position?
Yeah,
I mean, this is the team. Everybody has to take
see,
responsibility.
we have all talked about that number 4 conundrum.
Yeah.
Virat Kohli has been our best. He has been one of the world's best batter at number 3. Why disturb him? Why disturb his position? At least let that order be fixed, which has been there.
Yeah.
Don't disturb that.
But if a left armer starts his run up and then you see the scoreboard 11 for 3, then you need someone to stabilize your
No, but it could well be, right? I mean, if you're 1 for 1 and you're up against a quality left arm pacer, what do you do then? I mean, you still got to go hold innings together and get those runs, right? But we're talking of holding jaws, we're talking of anchors, we're talking of batting positions. Meanwhile, like I said, the dynamics of one-day cricket have changed altogether. Look at the Pakistan top order struggling against Afghanistan in the first ODI in Sri Lanka and Hamman Tota. The Afghan spinners really dominating the top order for
But that
now.
is the question that I wanted to put forward, Raj. If Ishan Kishan, he scored his double 100 as an opener, and then he was not given a couple of opportunities because Shubman Gill started as opener and established himself with some big scores at the start of the year. And then Ishan got opportunities in the middle order and he couldn't perform. But in the West Indies series, he again got the opportunity to open the batting. Now, for someone who's figuring out the opening spot, someone who's settling into the opening spot, if at all against Pakistan, KL Rahul is not fit, how can you ask him to bat in the middle order?
No, against Pakistan, I believe Ishan Kishan will bat at number 4. That's what's going to happen. Ideally, you know what? In an ideal world, I would open with Ishan and Gill. Virat at number 3, let the captain drop down to number 4. Why can't the captain make sacrifices? Saurav Ganguly didn't he do that?
Raj, but
Dhoni, by the way, Dhoni could have batted. He could have had a great career with the bat. I mean, he's already a legend in the one-day game, over 10,000 runs, an average over 50. But he could have finished with a lot more. I'm telling you, had Dhoni batted at number 3, number 4, had Virat Kohli not got those opportunities, Virat Kohli wouldn't have been Virat Kohli. What did Ganguly say? Ganguly said that, look, you can't develop cricketers, you can't make cricketers and players by asking them to bat at number 5, number 6, number 7. You have to bring them up.
Virendra Sehwag has so often recalled that chat with
Rohit
Ganguly.
Sharma hasn't done much at the top of the order. I mean, if you say, no, Rohit is a legend, wasn't Ganguly a legend?
Yes.
Yeah, he's got double hundreds on flat pitches. I mean, again, with all due credit.
When have they come back?
The time that Ganguly played in, was that any easier for a batter?
He also scored 183.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, nothing to take away from Rohit Sharma's double hundreds. Please don't get me wrong. But the fact is that Tendulkar got a double hundred. Tendulkar was also shifted down to number 4. He went down from an opening position to number 4, right? Yeah. Are you bigger than Tendulkar? Are you a bigger captain than Saurav Ganguly? No, you're not. With all due respect to Rohit Sharma, the cricketer, you're not bigger than Saurav Ganguly. You're definitely not bigger than Sachin Tendulkar.
But 100 for 1 at 20 overs and then some leg spinner running in. Both Kohli and Rohit can't start against spin.
That can't happen in the World Cup, right? These processes should have started 2 years back.
No, we can't create anything overnight. We can't do that.
So are you saying that these two cricketers, Saurav Ganguly and Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli,
they can't bat in the middle order overnight.
They should go to the opposition captain. Oh, wait, we are batting. Please don't bring spinners.
Oh yeah.
No, the problem is now. It's true. Your top 2 batters, Virat and Rohit, they have struggled against spin. And a lot of Indian batsmen. Shreyas Iyer that way, he's probably India's best player against spin in the one-day format, right? Even with KL Rahul, he's one of those batters who can hold his own against a quality spin attack. He'll be especially critical in those tricky chases, 260, 270, 280.
Yes.
KL Rahul comes in
but will
extremely
he be of
important.
help in 370, 380 chases?
Which of your batters will be of help in 370, 380 chases? If Virat Kohli is not in form, if Rohit Sharma is not in form, and if Rohit Sharma has already decided that, look, you're not going to be playing those long innings. If you're going to be,
60
the pinch
or
hitter
40.
kind of an opener, get those 2 youngsters in here. I mean, again, like I said, yes, it's too late for any of those tactical changes. You suddenly don't want to see the team going into a World Cup match with that sort of approach. Is the Asia Cup a good platform to do that? Perhaps. Perhaps. You have 3 more matches against Australia. But
No, if you want to try it before the World Cup, this is your time.
Yeah.
You have to announce the squad for the World Cup. In the first, I think after the first 2 games, you will have to announce that squad for World Cup.
But then critics like the both of you shouldn't question that India haven't won the Asia Cup. See, the Asia Cup maybe
Critics
is for
like the both of you.
experimentation for this time. Last time, also the same thing happened. We tried a few things. KL Rahul returned from an injury then also when he couldn't get going. We tried a few things when we couldn't go to the qualify for the final of the Asia Cup and questions were asked.
Now, KL Rahul's
So
injury
if you
brings me to-
critics are willing to not ask questions of the team if they don't make the final at the Asia Cup,
No.
then experimentation
No,
can
thank
be
goodness
done.
India won in Ireland. I mean, that was the one thing that we wanted to see was Bumrah and
Yes,
Prasidh Krishna
yes.
coming back to form. But here is the question, since you brought up KL Rahul's injury. Guy got injured in the middle of the IPL.
Yeah.
Okay. Underwent surgery. Played those intra-squad matches at the NCA. On the day of the squad selection, the chief selector says he's got a fresh niggle and he won't be available for that game against Pakistan on the 2nd of September. My question is this. Was this team really finalized on Monday? Did Rahul pick up the niggle on Monday at 12:30 p.m. or 1:30 p.m.? Did the selectors and the team management not know about this fresh niggle? Should they not have been worried about this fresh niggle, especially for a player who's just recovered from an injury, played a couple of matches, and he's now developed a niggle? Again, there is no transparency, as always, from this team management. You don't know where and how this injury was sustained. Should he have been selected in the first place if they had updates about his injury? Look at Jofra Archer. England
Exactly.
did not select Jofra Archer because he missed the deadline to be fit in time for the World Cup. And yet you're so obsessed with KL Rahul.
That is how it should be. I mean, you are selecting a squad for Asia Cup, World Cup, biggest trophy in cricket.
Yeah.
A player like Jofra Archer, is KL Rahul more important than Jofra Archer?
Kane Williamson for that instance.
Kane Williamson for that instant.
Yeah.
I mean, Luke Wright, the selector, the England selector, he has come out and said in public that we were looking at his fitness. He has failed to prove his fitness beyond that time, so we are not picking him for the squad. As simple as that. They picked up a young tier-away pacer, Gus Atkinson, I think his name. I mean, this is how it should be.
Yeah.
You had Sanju Samson. Yeah. He was performing good in ODIs. Yeah. Instead of picking up Sanju Samson as a backup player, you could have picked KL Rahul as a backup player for the Asia Cup. If he's not fit enough to play for the first 2 games.
And one more thing, if he's
And
not
why
fit
Sanju
enough...
Samson as well? Now you can ask questions. Why Sanju Samson? Right? There are 2 things about that. You have to split Sanju Samson's opinions into 2, right down the middle. A, T20, has Sanju Samson done justice? No. One-day cricket, has he got enough chances? No. But in the few opportunities,
He has done
tried
really
to-
well.
He's done well.
Yes.
But you are now taking him as a traveling option.
He's a backup
I
player.
wouldn't have taken him at all.
Yes.
If you don't want to play Sanju Samson, don't take him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't create that confusion.
No,
which-
I
which
wouldn't-
now leaves you with
Or
three
was he
wicket keepers.
selected because they knew KL Rahul will not be fit enough to play?
Exactly.
See, the thing is, I wouldn't have picked KL Rahul in the squad itself. You know what he did last year, Asia Cup, T20 World Cup. He couldn't put bat to ball. That is an understatement.
And by the way,
coming back from an injury,
before
he
that-
underwent a surgery last year also.
And-
I think for some sports hernia, he underwent a surgery.
What did he do in the IPL before
And
his
before that,
injury?
before the
Yes.
Asia Cup also, he played in Zimbabwe.
Yes,
This time
yes.
too, he does not have any match practice.
Exactly. So KL Rahul, on the basis of his form in one-day cricket, how many half centuries did he score this year? 1 or 2
I think 1.
against Australia. Did that
Yeah.
come
Yes.
against Australia?
Yeah.
Low-scoring game, right?
Yes.
He did not do well in the IPL also before his injury.
Yeah.
He's really struggled over the last 1 year. On what basis has he made the World Cup squad?
And
is also
you saw what happened last year at the Asia Cup and the T20 World Cup. You're repeating the same mistake again. And you are going to announce the World Cup provisional squad on September 5.
Yeah.
And if KL Rahul is not going to play on September 2 and September 4, on what basis will you pick him in the
Exactly.
15-member squad?
Or will you just pick him on the basis of one game against Nepal where he may not even bat?
Then why pick Surya Kumar Yadav? Then why bring back, why have Sanju Samson as travelling
And
reserve?
Now that you've also brought in KL Rahul with no clarity on whether he will play the first match, definitely not playing the first match, whether he'll even play that second match against Nepal, Tilak Verma.
Yeah.
Now, does this become a Tilak versus Surya conundrum in the Indian top order? Where does Tilak Verma play? If Shreyas Iyer is playing in that side,
Tilak can't play.
then you
Tilak,
have to
Surya
let go
both
Surya
can't
Kumar
play.
Yadav. Then you'll have to let go Surya
Yes.
Kumar Yadav because in that case, who's going to keep wickets for you?
Exactly.
So where does Tilak Verma fit in? Okay,
Maybe
let's
that's
just-
the flexibility
let's just
we were
try-
talking
no, let's
about.
just try
Virat or Rohit,
let's,
we take the gloves.
let's just try to figure out the top order
Yeah.
for the game against Pakistan, right? Rohit, Shubman, Virat, right?
Ishan.
Ishan,
KL doesn't
assuming you
recover.
want a wicket
Assuming
keeper.
KL doesn't recover.
Assuming you want a wicket keeper. KL Rahul is more or less gone. Now number 5. That is an interesting
Hardik
spot.
Pandya. I'll give that to Hardik because he wants to bat there.
So number 6.
Number 6 will be an
Tilak
extra
/
bat.
Surya.
Yes. And that will rob you of an
So
extra bowler.
you don't. If Tilak doesn't get that game against Pakistan, on what basis are you going to put him in that squad for the World Cup? Or will you wait?
We have the deadline till 28th.
No. So, but India also has to travel to China
China for
later
the Asian
in
Games.
September for the Asian Games, right? So does that mean Tilak Verma travels to China, or does he get at least 1 or 2 games in the Asia Cup, and then is he retained for the squad to take on Australia? How many chances will you get? How many games are you playing at the
How
Asia
about
Cup?
these things if we are already fixated on having KL Rahul and Shreyas Iyer back despite their lack of match practice? How about sending KL Rahul and Shreyas Iyer to Asian Games and having Tilak Verma in Australia to face Australia at home?
This is so bizarre, right? Again, for all you know, this team might go on to win the World Cup. But just look at the craziness of this whole build-up.
But I
The
think
captain said हम पागलपंती नहीं करते, but I'm sorry, captain. I'm just trying to figure out the entire composition of the
टीम में
squad.
विकेट कीपर की जगह नहीं बन रही है.
I think they are so fixated on giving themselves time, Raj. They are going to announce a provisional squad for the sake of
Ravi
announcing
Shastri
a
was
provisional
right
squad.
when he said that. When he said that on Star Sports on one of the special shows leading up to the Asia Cup squad selection, he said, I wouldn't have KL Rahul anywhere near the side because he's just recovered from an injury.
Yes. And that
You expect him to keep wicket for 50 overs. Maybe he'll have to bat for another 30 overs. Will that guy be up to it? And he's already come
That
up
is
with
putting too much pressure on himself.
and
KL
besides
also.
his injury, like we discussed on the Sledging, you pointed out, what has his form been like? On what basis has he been selected in the middle order? You drop Manas Labuschagne. Harry Brook does not get a place in that team. Right? And you have somehow squeezed KL Rahul in. On what basis? Form? Not great. Fitness? Not great at all.
Yes.
Shreyas Iyer, on what basis has he made it back to the Indian team?
And both of them
What
have
basis?
had recurring injuries. It's not like they have had one
Yes,
injury.
exactly.
They have had
From
recurring
last 2-3
injury
years,
concerns.
these guys have missed IPL,
Yes.
missed international games. So
Shreyas Iyer, that's the point. He's been injured, and before his injury, was he in cracking form?
In 2022 he was, but in 2023...
Late 2021, when he made his Test debut, yes, that Shreyas Iyer was different. Against Sri Lanka and before that against New Zealand, in some one-day matches, he's been brilliant. But again, the Shreyas Iyer of late 2022 to now, where are the runs? Where is the fitness? And you've stuck with these guys because 2-3 years you decided that this is going to be the composition of your team.
Like
Exactly.
Shikhar Dhawan.
Yes.
Where was Shikhar Dhawan all this while? And now there is no Shikhar Dhawan.
I think in January, head coach Rahul Dravid said that we have an idea of around
yeah,
17,
he said
18
it. He said
players.
it.
So he knew Tilak Verma was in the ambit. He knew Sanju Samson was going to be a travelling specialist. He knew Surya Kumar Yadav was going to be his number 6 in January. Even before
But can you do that, Raj?
those
Can you,
3 ducks against Australia, Surya Kumar
That
Yadav was
decided,
cemented.
Like, can you do that? Can you give a squad for the name as a provisional squad for the sake of naming it on September 5, and then wait till September 28 to make those changes, sweeping changes? Can you do that? As in, you can do that. But would it
You're
look
allowed
good?
to make as many changes as
But
possible.
would it look good?
It doesn't matter. You want to put up a winning team on the field. But the thing is, have Indian teams done that? Have they made too many sweeping changes?
Exactly.
Remember, we were discussing the T20 World Cup and we mocked Pakistan for making a couple
Yeah,
of
absolutely.
drastic changes.
They
And we
made-
said, you know what, look at the Indian team, they're not making any changes. Look at...
And what would it do to the confidence of someone like Tilak Verma if you name him in the 15 and then
I'm
2 days
wondering
before the
what
World
is it?
Cup?
What is it already doing to Tilak Verma's confidence? Is he not confused as a 20-year-old? You go and play the T20s in the West Indies, couple of good performances. Suddenly you're in the Asia Cup squad. The World Cup is 1 month away. You also know that you're going to travel to China to play in 2 or 3 matches to win India gold medal in the Asian Games. That's how you've been mentally prepared. And you say this is not school cricket. And suddenly you're in the mix for the World Cup as well because the chief selector comes to the media and says that, yes, obviously this is a no-brainer. The World Cup team is going to be based on the squad. So how many games will Tilak Verma get? I hope he gets. Now he should be able to play all the matches in the Asia Cup to prove himself. And suddenly if he scores a couple of half centuries, one match winning 70, 80 somewhere or the other, 2 or 3 wickets.
Or if he doesn't do well, would you just
chuck it.
chuck him out?
Obviously, that
it has happened to so many cricketers. I'm not saying that It has happened to Vijay Shankar.
Prithvi Shaw.
It has happened to Prithvi Shaw. It has happened to Varun Chakravarti in the T20 World Cup in 2021. That one bad tournament and he was
It's
shunted
happened to
out.
Rahul Chahar.
Yeah, it has happened to Rahul
There are
Chahar.
so many names. If you look at names who were picked up on the basis of one IPL, one series, and then they were dropped after that poor series.
Yes.
So this has been a pattern. If you're talking about Ravi Shastri talking on Star Sports, I remember MSK Prasidh, our former chief selector, was there and he was like, no, he's match fit, he should game.
Yeah.
I think he knew.
Yeah.
He knew that this is going to happen. He is going to get selected. Whether he's not match fit, whether he's not injury free, he's going to get picked in the squad. I mean, if you look at the teams from Australia, England, they pick up squad on the basis of form, fitness, and how they are approaching the tournament. Nobody knows what is going on.
No, well, the team management knows because they said it's not
That is what
school
they
cricket.
say. But when a tournament gets over, we are not there in the top 4, top 3, top 2. We are not winning those tournaments.
No, you were in the top 4 in the T20
Oh yes,
World Cup.
that is a great achievement, right?
Great. That's-
You reached the semi-finals in 2019. But again, I wouldn't pick too much on the 2019 campaign because India were brilliant.
Yeah.
India was superb. 1 hour of madness on the top order. Again, when they failed to do anything substantial in a big match.
Then to last year's T20 World Cup, 3.5 hours of madness. Then we get
No, you were poor against South Africa in the league game. You were very poor.
You just managed to win that Pakistan game.
Virat
Luck,
was the
Virat Kohli,
standout
so
difference.
many things helped
Exactly,
you.
Virat Kohli was the difference against Pakistan. And even then that game against one of the other minnows, who was that? Was the Netherlands India played and they were so slow to start off the blocks.
I think.
You had a narrow escape against
Yes, yes.
Bangladesh in a rain truncated game. So it wasn't the best of tournaments for you.
Yeah, and you can't compare 2019 World Cup to the last year T20 World Cup, because in 2019 World Cup you had just one issue, that number 4 conundrum. Otherwise your top order was in sweeping form. Everybody scored. Rohit Sharma scored 5 centuries, and this year what is the form of your top order? Your famed top order. Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, they are the world's best batter.
But we have Shubman Gill, who's in good form.
Okay, where is he going to bat? Open the innings.
I mean, he was in good form in India. So, and that's where the World Cup is going to be played. So maybe you'll just give him that leeway and hopefully come up with something more substantial. But again, your premier fast bowlers are going to play only a handful of ODIs before the World Cup. Hopefully that's good enough turnaround time for, say, someone like Bumrah, Prasidh Krishna, Shami, who hasn't played for so long, Siraj, who's also had a substantial break. Obviously, these guys have been training.
Siraj
so
also picked up a niggle, which the details about which...
we don't know. I mean, yeah, he was sent back home from the West
Yes,
Indies,
yes.
and he was named back in the squad. I mean, look at what the captain said. He said, "Look, the chief selector said we got to make the most of what we have. We got to do with the resources that we have." And the captain said, "As long as I have, as long as I have all the relevant players fit on the day of the match, I'm happy." I mean, this is what it's come down to. So it doesn't look like the captain and the selector and the coach are all too, sure or certain about.
I think the physio will be the crucial member of the team meetings in the World Cup, I think. Tell me who's fit, let's pick our team.
Fitness and form. Look, you can't brush this under the carpet. Fitness and form are major issues for India to lead up to the World Cup. Major
Like
issues.
he pointed out, Raj, in the 2019 World Cup, number 4 was the only point of contention. That there was confusion around it. But Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli were in tremendous form.
Yeah.
But now look at Rohit and Virat's form, and we still have a middle order conundrum. It's not just about number 4. It's about number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7. I don't know how good our World Cup campaign is gonna be.
You talk of a team like Afghanistan, because this is the same format that was played in the 2019 round robin format, where each team plays the other once. It's Falhas Farooqi, Mujibur Rahman, Amratullah Omarzai, Mohammad Nabi, Rashid Khan, Abdul Rahman. 3 potent spinners who can be very, very dangerous on any surface. And if you come across these guys,
And they have other
in
options
Delhi,
also. That Gujarat Titans
of course.
spinner who played with Rashid.
Yes.
Again, it's a little scary.
Why are we going that far? The first match is against Australia,
Australia.
CL winners in Chennai on October 8.
And by the time you get to Pakistan, to get to the Pakistan game,
You would have played 2 matches.
you
by
would have
then.
played 2 matches. It really depends on the form of the top order. I mean, I'm just wondering, before we wrap this up, I'm just wondering, could the team management be talking to the players, and could the senior batsmen stand up and say, you know what,
We'll,
let the batters take charge.
yeah.
let us play with 5 specialist batters, including a wicketkeeper, throughout the tournament. Let's accommodate that extra bowling and batting option. Like they did in 2003, Sachin Tendulkar stood up and said that, yes, I'll take responsibility. Ganguly was in fine form. Dravid was in good form. Yuvraj, Tendulkar led from the front. I mean, he wasn't captain, of course. But wow, what a tournament he had.
670 runs.
After that washout, after that rubbing against Australia, they struggled against the Netherlands. But what a performance that was from Sachin Tendulkar.
He played Dinesh Mongia in that.
Yeah, exactly. So that gave
extra
them an
bowler.
extra. He played at number 7. Dravid had agreed to keep wickets before that.
Yes.
So yeah, that's what.
So can we see Virat Kohli keeping wickets for us?
And besides that, you had Mongia as a bowling option. You had Sachin. You had Yuvraj.
Yes.
And the same thing with the 2011 lineup. And you look at the 2007 lineup, you had those similar problems. You didn't have too many bowling options. You look at 2011, apart from the main frontline bowlers, and I've said this over and again on the Sledging Room, Sachin, Yuvraj, Sehwag, Raina. You had 4 to 5 bowling options.
Apart from your main bowlers.
Apart from your main bowlers. And 2003, you also had Saurav Ganguly on pitches where fast bowlers had a lot of sway.
But you know what? There is a simple scenario. If you want to win the Asia Cup and the World Cup, your premier fast bowler should take 15 plus wickets. Virat Kohli at the end of the tournament, 15 plus wickets, and we are winning the World Cup. Now tell me, before we go, we have an 18-member provisional squad. They haven't named a provisional squad, but it seems like an 18-member provisional squad. And if you have to trim down 3 names, who would those names be?
I would get rid of KL Rahul, form and fitness. KL Rahul for me doesn't make the World Cup squad. I would have doubts over Surya Kumar Yadav. And given a chance, I would want to see what Shreyas Iyer can do because again, he's a vital cog. If he is in form, if he's fit enough, he's a vital cog because of his ability to play spin. So I would perhaps look at Surya Kumar Yadav, KL Rahul, and I mean for me Sanju Samson also goes out because he's not going to be able to make the cut. Unless you say that, you know what, we don't need that third opener. And let's bat Sanju Samson at either number 3. He can be flexible, provided Virat Kohli decides to shift up and down the order according to the situation. So,
if we are talking about 3 players, the first one, which I am personally a very big fan of Akshar Patel, but I don't see him playing that ODI World Cup. I mean, he's a good bowler, he's a good batter, but his ODI record does not suggest so.
Are you suggesting he's bits and pieces?
I am not saying any of these.
He's not even bits and pieces in one day cricket.
Yeah. So I don't think he will be playing that ODI World Cup. KL Rahul all depends on fitness. But right now, if he has a niggle, if he's not playing Asia Cup, how will he play that World Cup? And the third player has to be Surya Kumar Yadav. He has got so many chances. When did he last score a 15 ODIs? Yes, his T20I form has been different. But whenever it comes to ODIs, he himself has acknowledged that he has had troubles. He has failed to perform. So why will you pick a player like that? What about you?
Same Akshar Patel. But you will be lighter on spin. So you have to keep Akshar Patel there. I wouldn't want Sanju. I wouldn't want KL. I wouldn't want Surya.
You would want 4 players out of that.
No, only 3. Akshar.
So you want Akshar?
Or I'll pick a UZ instead of Akshar.
No, but Akshar has to be
but,
there, right?
But you will not have Rahul and Sanju both.
No. Rahul and Sanju. Yeah, Ishan will be my
So
keeper.
only one wicket-keeper option.
Yeah, home World Cup, you can call them anytime. Why do you need to?
And moreover, Akshar Patel is going to play a few matches in the World Cup. Mark my words. Because you don't trust your batting lineup.
Yes.
And you'll have 2 left-arm spinners.
That's okay. Because there will be certain journalists as well who will justify the move and say, they can do they can
And
perform
especially
different
when
roles.
teams like England and Australia look to attack you in the middle overs, I think an attacking spinner would work better than a defensive spinner, but I don't know. I don't know how it works. Let's see.
Anyway, this is what it's going to be like, right? This is the fulcrum of the World Cup squad. This is how the team will more or less look, unless there are some special packages and say Ashwin is part of the side, or maybe Yuzvendra Chahal comes back. And if India don't do well in the Asia Cup, will they panic? They should. I hope the Asia Cup tournament is successful for India. But if they don't do well there, I hope they don't go back to last year's excuse and say, this was all like part of the experimentation. They should panic. At least they should panic with a couple of roles and bring in the big guns who haven't played ODI cricket, let's say, for a few years as well. Because again, you brought back KL Rahul and Shreyas Iyer on the basis of what evidence in one-day cricket.
Yes.
So Might as well go back to experience and players who can take wickets in these conditions. But
Might as well. Rohit sends a message to Dhoni saying "World Cup?" question mark. Dhoni
Lol.
responds with lol.
Oh no, you're not being serious now. But okay, we'll get our listeners and our viewers to reach out to us on pods@indiatoday.com and tell us what you think about the squad selection and whether you're happy with KL Rahul's inclusion, you're happy with Yuzvendra Chahal's snub. I mean, he posted this cryptic tweet, and obviously he's not happy with the fact that he's been left out. And you can also ping us on 8588 966 996. And if you're consuming the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, please do rate us and leave your comments on those platforms. And also on YouTube, of course, you can reach out to us by leaving your comments on the comment section below. And let us know what you think of this whole World Cup squad. Is there a conundrum in the middle order? Are you happy with KL Rahul and Shreyas Iyer being penned down for numbers 4 and 5 respectively? That's all that we have on the Sledging Room for this week. We'll be back with plenty more as we build up to the Asia Cup, the Asian Games, and the 2023 Cricket World Cup. Thank you so much. Have a splendid week ahead.